Hello, everyone, and welcome to ZinoNation. This is a virus-free show tonight. We have a lot of Zeno 2 updates tonight, and we got a special guest coming on next week, so we're going to promote him in a second. But I want to welcome. Hold on, I never get that sound muted over here. I got Marcus Crawford here, our great co-host with us tonight, and of course our DJI expert on the staff here, Bill, the drone reviewer, who also always has some breaking news and interesting tidbits. But I'm going to throw it over to Marcus right now, and he's going to catch up on what he's been up to.
Well, like everybody else, just been kind of huddling around, lying low in the house. But we did have a really nice day here in Idaho yesterday, so I got to get out and fly with the Zino 2.
Was it a good day to fly?
It was a good day to fly, and it was fun. I got to test some stuff and had just really had a good time with the drone. And hopefully we've got some rain tomorrow, but I think the day after that we're supposed to get some more sunshine. And as long as the state will let us get out and about, I'll keep my social distancing, of course, but hopefully get out and fly that drone a little bit.
So tomorrow will be like an editing day, huh?
Tomorrow would definitely be a catch-up day for sure. Yeah.
Bill, how are things down in the great sunshine state of Florida?
Well, it's nice and sunny here, but we're ready to run our governor out on a rail right now. So other than that, we're doing fine. It got quite warm today. It was like 92 today. It was very warm, low humidity, great flying weather today. Of course, I worked all day today, and but none of that. But I got some great news, everybody here. Okay, not only did I get tracking information from FedEx, but the Zino 2 is officially on its way to Riverview, Florida. It will make it here next Monday, the 30th. And as soon as it hits the ground, I'm going to unbox it, get everything charged up, and then I'll be sitting there, be doing firmware updates for most of the day until I can get it out to get it to fly. But
will it be on set next Monday night?
Yeah, I'll have it on set next Monday night.
Wow. It'll be a whatever you call it, Three Amigos Zino 2 show next week.
Yes, we'll all have it by that point in time, and then I can break the tie here with some of these tests you guys have been doing to see if it goes this way or if it goes that way. So I'm eagerly awaiting it, and I think it was so good. And I want to again thank my anonymous benefactor for the Zino 1. It's been such a great way to get indoctrinated to ZinoNation into flying it too. And I think once I got it up in the air, I was impressed with the stability. I mean, it seemed pretty good up in the air, but it's like you guys say, it's like when you're landing, it's like look out, make sure you got a hold of that stick and hang on to it pretty firmly when you're doing that. But it's been a great experience. And I can hardly wait to get it. And, one of the videos after I get my first flight in is I'm going to compare it against the Zino 1. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's a good comparison.
Excellent.
Look for that Zino drop, Bill. It's the Zino.
Watch the drop.
What?
Don't get too low over that lake.
My son's a musician. I think we ought to have him coin up a tune called the Hubsan Drop with some, have it be like a rap tune kind of a thing. I think that would be great.
Could go number one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make it it will clog up YouTube. It will just jam YouTube. It will get so many views. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of next Monday night, I'm going to do the show promotion now because I'll forget about it. If I wait too long. We get a special guest coming on next Monday night. We've been negotiating with his management team behind the scenes, but we're going to get Sean Oz on the show next week. Sean Oz is one of the keynote speakers at Spin Up this year, 2019 in Austin, Texas, and he did a great job with it. Sean, he lives in, I don't think he's from Colorado, but he lives in Colorado in like a ski resort town, and he's into a lot of things. He flies drones. He does a whole lot with 360 cameras. He's always snowboarding down a mountain or doing some kind of, great, stunt that probably the rest of the show don't do too much flying down mountains or whatever. But while Sean's on the show, is he I don't know how recent, but he has a Scudio 2 drone. He's been putting it to good use in a couple of his recent videos out in Stowe Country. So he has a lot of free time on his hands because he's a tattoo artist, and of course he's shut down during the virus. So it's going to be a special episode of ZinoNation next Monday night with Sean Oz. So book your calendars right now. If you don't know his channel, I think his channel is just called Sean Oz. It's an easy one to find. Great channel, great guy to chat with, and we're going to learn a lot from him. And so next Monday night, he'll be on. So moving on to more pertinent subjects here. I mean, we're not going to say too much about the virus because you probably come here not to hear about the virus thing. New Jersey's pretty much shut down. We're not even supposed to travel in cars unless we're going out to get food or medicine. But I'm still going to walk to the beach and fly, whatever. We're allowed to get out, walk and get some exercise, wherever. They haven't shut the beaches down yet here, which you don't really need to because it's spring, but it's still like winter time now at the beach or whatever. Believe me, nobody's sitting on the beach in their beach chair this time of year. But I'll let Marcus and Bill give a little virus update to their states or whatever. But I just want to hope everybody out there in chat is safe. They're staying safe out there and virus free and doing as much as they can to avoid all this. And I'm done talking about the virus for the evening. Marcus, have you been flying your Scudio 2 this week? And if so, what have you discovered in your second week of ownership that can help the people in our chat, learn to fly their Scudios better, safer, and push it to the limits as far as what it can do?
Yeah, well, I actually got the Skydio back in December, Ron, and
I meant to say the Zino too. I'm sorry. I get all messed up or whatever. So we'll see. You can talk about Skydio if you want, or we can save it till next week.
Yeah.
I meant to say Zino too.
I'll start with the Skydio. It's kind of sad. That thing's been sitting on the shelf way too much. Like I said, I got it back in December, and I think I've only had it out 3 or 4 times, and I've already had the Zino 2 out that many times. So I need to get that thing out, especially for Sean Oz being on next week and fly that baby. But yeah, as far as the Zino 2, that thing is just a riot. I'm having a flipping blast with that drone. And I think part of that, there's something about the fact that it's a $399 drone. So maybe you're not as paranoid about what you're going to do with it or whatever, but it is a hot rod. And every time you get on the sticks on that thing and you move it someplace, it's amazing how fast it gets there. And it does have a really like you said earlier, Ron, when we were talking, you can't argue with the camera. The controller is way better than what we dealt with the Zino 1. And all around, I'm pretty darn happy with it. I know we got a lot of people in the chat here that have it as well. So, yeah, lots of fun.
Did you see Johnny Dronefire's post here? He hit 47 miles per hour today, Marcus.
Well, that's great, Johnny, because that's been the top speed that I've hit as well. I got it up to 47 one time. And the other thing that I'll be interested to see what some of these other guys have to say about that. It's not just how fast it goes. It's the sound it makes when it does it. It sounds like a freaking turbine jet fighter or something. I mean, it really roars. And that's another part of it. It is not the quietest drone. If you're trying to be subtle, it in the Zino 2, because now let me say this: it is not an obnoxious noise, but it is not quiet either.
People know you got 8 cylinders under the hood.
That's a very good way to describe it.
Hey, Bill, we got an update from Ray Kelly here. He said the beaches in Palm Beach County are closed, but not to my Mavic Mini. He put up a video today where he took the Mini out over the beach, even though he wasn't on the beach.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that. They'll let you do that all day long.
Hey, so me and Ted Bowman here in Idaho, we can go wherever we want. Well, now we're supposed to keep social distancing, of course, but they haven't closed us down.
Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't want to go on and on about the virus or whatever. Still want to see Mark Stephen Ewing. Welcome, Stephen. Great to see you in here tonight from hopefully virus-free Ireland. Still waiting to see Marcus and Ron racing down a hill on a skateboard using the ZinoTwo. Well, Stephen, you may be waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting for a while.
I would. You know what? I would pay good money to watch that. I would pay to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you could get the Wayback Machine out, I could skateboard pretty good when I was like about maybe 12 or 13 years old. Can send the drone back in the Wayback Machine and give it to 13-year-old Ron, and then you're going to have something.
13-year-old Ron, that'd be something to see, I suppose.
Yeah,
but now that would have to come with health insurance.
There you go.
Well, yeah, I don't know, how good health insurance was back in the old days, but the doctor just made a house call and fixed you up, Bill.
Yeah,
remember house calls?
Plaster. Oh yeah, plaster Paris. If you had a broken arm, whatever,
took Paris that cast on.
Get a cast on, and you're out running around doing stuff.
Take a couple aspirins.
Yeah, no big deal. That's and that was. There was something that he said because it was pretty simple back then,
Hey, let me ask you guys. So I've been thinking about the ZinoTwo and doing a comparison with another drone. Now the Fimi X8 SE is a natural, right? Because they're
that's his natural rival.
Yeah, they're similarly priced. They have similar features, and of course, unfortunately, I'm waiting for an arm to show up for my Fimi, so I can't do that yet. So I've been thinking about another drone to put it up against, and let me tell. Here's what I'm thinking, and this is all based on price, right? Mm-hmm. So if somebody they're looking to buy their first drone, and they're looking to spend $400 to $500. The Mavic Mini against the Hubsan Zino 2. Good, bad, or indifferent?
You know what? I thought you were going to say? And this is just me. I thought you were going to say the Anafi.
Well, the Anafi I think that's another one that is worth comparing. I would say I picked the Mini because it is more popular, and a lot of people, when people think about their first drone, I think probably more people are going to think about that Mini than they would the Anafi. Oh, yeah. Although, good point, Bill. I agree. It would be a good comparison.
Because, the camera on the Anafi, from everything I've seen from your guys' videos, is just stellar. I mean, and the only thing that I know of from actually, I've flown the Anafi before, and the only thing I know of is, it's the range on that is the only really, if you want to look at an Achilles heel on the Anafi, that's probably it. But yeah, you're good. That's a real good comparison and a real good point about the Mini being popular, Marcus. And it's real close in price. I mean, you look at the base, it's $399 for the Mini, and let's just say for grins and giggles, it's $499 for the ZinoTwo. So they're real close. Features
wise, I think the ZinoTwo is going to win because of some of the flight modes and some of the things that it can do. Speed, that kind of thing. Camera, probably give the ZinoTwo an edge, although don't count that Mini out because that 2.7K looks really good on that drone.
It does.
But then if we're talking about flight controls, it's not even close. That Mini just blows it out of the water. So.
Now, Marcus, will you compare how the sensors work on the Mini versus the ZinoTwo?
Well, that would be interesting. And I'll give you a word of encouragement, Ron, because the ZinoTwo has those sensors. I have every confidence that Hubsan is going to continue to refine that drone, and they'll get that thing working where it knows where it's at in space. They have the tools in place. They have the hardware that they didn't have on the Zino 1. So, and they'll keep working on it. And wow, I see Ted just said he sold his Mavic Air, so he's ready for that new Mavic, Bill.
I'm chomping at that bit. The only thing I will say about, all the proceedings going on, I'm really hoping Congress will pass that, not only for relief for a lot of people, but you know what? I need to build up my war chest a little bit. And that would definitely help.
You want me to call Nancy up and have her push it through?
Oh, yeah. I think, hit that button and boom. Well, they did say this, and this is a good thing. They said that they're going to direct deposit this. If you filed your taxes before and you've gotten refunds and stuff, that most Americans will get it via direct deposit.
Nice. Hey, we got a comment up. We got a comment up here from Chris Hope. The Mini has no side sensors. Poor Chris Hope was making a video because they put in his Sunday morning sunrise feed because he was going to get rain, and he flew his Mini sideways into a tree. But as far as I know, there was no damage, real damage done, and the Mini will live to fly another day. But that's the cause of the side sensor remark. Okay, but on to sensors here. Now, Marcus and I maybe overstepped it a week ago and said the Zino 2 sensors weren't working at all. But maybe were, maybe weren't. I keep wanting to say the wrong drone. The Zino 2, if I didn't say the Zino 2 a second ago, I meant to say the Zino 2. It got a couple firmware updates this week. It got a transmitter update, I think, on Thursday, and then it got a aircraft update on Saturday. And we did a little mini show on Saturday night about the updates. But I did both the updates on Saturday, and I went out to test fly on Saturday, and I have the video posted already. Look at my feed. I think it's my most recent video up. And I take the Zino 2 and hover it in front of the camera over the sand. I put it about 7 feet in the air, and I took my hands off the control, and it just sat there. It moved a little bit left or right because it was a pretty good wind blowing that day. But as far as going up and down, it just sat there and hardly fluctuated at all. So I'm guessing that was the sensors doing something there. I mean, I didn't go over and put my hand under them, but again, it held that height. Now I also put in the same session, I put the Scudia 2 up there at the same height, and it held, it actually held blowing back and forth a little bit better because I don't know why it just did. But I mean, as far as up and down, it was about the same as the Zino 2, and the Scudia 2 has like downward phase 3 downward cameras, not necessarily optical flow sensors, just cameras. But the only thing, if you saw that video, the only thing I'm not telling you the behind the scenes is when I took the Scudia 2 up, I mean, I launched it, it was windy, and within seconds, it had stabilized itself, and I moved it out there. The Zino 2, when it took off, I mean, it was all over the place. I had, like we were talking, I really had to fly it for, I don't even know how many seconds that kind of corralled. Then I got over the beach, it was still moving around. So, I mean, I probably, we'll say it was a good 30 seconds or more before I actually had that thing settled down to where I got there that it hovers. So it will hover good. It just won't hover good initially, whatever. You have to kind of get it under control and get it parked in a spot, before that. So that's kind of difference there. But I believe the sensors were holding it from not going up and down when I had about 6 or 7 feet off the ground in the sand there. Marcus and Bill, you saw my video. What do you think was going on there?
Yeah, no, it looked pretty good, Ron. I'll say that. I'll be honest with you. My experience is a little bit different. Mine seems to move around a lot.
Up and down or side to side?
Both. Yeah. Hey, there's a question, or not? There was a statement in here in the chat
from who?
Johnny Drone Flyer. He's talking about trying to do an orbit, and he said he couldn't do it because he didn't say GPS is not accurate. And let me explain that. So Johnny, when you are getting ready to do any of the intelligent flight modes, probably before you take off, if you go into the main part of the app, it will say on there to GPS binding, I think it says, or bind GPS, or GPS accuracy test.
Yes,
is what it says.
That's it.
So you hit that button, it'll go through a process and what it's doing is the drone and your mobile device are kind of shaking hands saying, yeah, I'm at this spot. Yeah, I'm at this spot. And that's how the drone knows where it's at to do those intelligent flight modes. So if in fact you get in a situation like that you get out someplace and you're wanting to do an orbit or something, and you get that warning, simply fly the drone back in. And if you've got it within, I don't know, 5 or 6 meters of you, even just hovering, you can still do that accuracy test and get the drones to GPS bind, the drone and then the controller to GPS bind, and then go out and do what you're doing. Now, the original Zino, when you took off, if you tried to engage the camera or take off, it would prompt you to do that GPS binding first. For some reason, the Zino 2 doesn't do that. I don't know why. I've been caught on that a couple of times myself.
And I can concur with Marcus just said. I've been able to do the GPS accuracy test with the bird in the air. I don't think you could do that with the Zino 1. I think you had to land it to do the accuracy test.
Right.
I didn't see Marcus's video yet, and that's my number one priority after the show. But I did get to see Ron's, and I was impressed with what I saw from Ron's video. I mean, it's anytime, and one of the things you can say, living in Florida, and we experienced. In fact, Ron and I experienced when we and our wives when we went to the beach that night in Reddington. I mean, it's always windy at the beach. I don't care what time of year it is, okay, and how the weather's been. It's always going to be windy. You're always going to have to deal with that. So it's always good to maybe not only check your app, but, when you get it up, 15, 20 feet aloft, you can tell. You'll know, okay? And I was impressed with how stable it was for Ron today. I mean, it really looked good. And, because, I remember, with my first test when I was getting the Zino 1 up the first couple of times, it was like, holy crap. It's like, it's like here, making up, it's like my ex-wife. She can never make up her mind. Okay. So, it's all over the place kind of a thing. So, but no, I was impressed with its stability and the way it hovered today. And I know I'm going to look forward to Marcus's video to compare the two. So, and then I think what will be great is, when I get mine, I think that's going to be one of the first tests I'm going to do is take a look at that stability, because I'll be spending most of the first day doing updates after I get it charged up. And then when I get it out there, that's one of the things that I want to check is the stability, because, we're spoiled with DJI drones. Okay. We take them off, it's like even from the Mini on up, whether it's the Mini, the Spark, the Air, Mavic 2, the Phantom 4. I mean,
they all had good hover.
They're rock solid. You're not gonna all over the place.
That Mini is right there, and you can't move it until you hit the control. That Mavic 2 is right there, and it's not gonna move.
There's no question with that, and it's good. And I think one of the things that really encourages me about the Zino 2 is what both of you in the history you've had with the Zino 1 and all the updates, and how Hubsan has really worked to improve the Zino 1 to get it to the point it's at now, which is, where it is now and where it was a year ago. It's like night and day from what I remember from what you guys telling me.
Greg Pittman just said that in the chat. He said,
there you go. I wasn't even looking at that.
It'll be a whole different fish was his words.
And that's what I'm looking forward to, because, it's like, the Zino 1 is good. And I'll say the Zino 2, is in a category better. Okay. I think, Hubsan is dedicated. That's one of the things, we'll say a lot about the shipping and the fulfillment and all that, unless once we get it, you don't worry about that. But with that out of the way, Hubsan's been pretty responsive, and they've been real good with these firmware updates already with the Zino 2, which has impressed me. So, like I said, I can't wait to get it next Monday.
Hey, I want to get we got Bermuda Bob in here. That's BC and the FK Bob here. He makes a funny comment here about the FFA should be preoccupied for a while with the airline crisis, may lay off the drones for a while. Bob put up an excellent video, I think, yesterday on Sunday. It's a short video, but he does a flight in high wind, and then he does the landing or whatever, and it's a good video. So get over to what's Bermuda Bob's YouTube channel? Is it Bermuda Bob?
I believe it is.
Yeah. But anyhow, check Bob's video out. But what I wanted to tell Bill is what you're going to like about getting the Zino 2 in next Monday. When it came in, my battery seemed to be half charged. So it didn't take long on the charger to go the full charge. And the the controller, the transmitter, I don't know what kind. I didn't look to see how much it's charged up, but it charges up fast. Like, if you plug that in the battery right away, the controller will be full charge for the battery will, but the battery was half charged. So I mean, in less than an hour, you were ready to go. And the updates, yours will probably come in. I don't know if it'll be any more updated than mine was, but the updates go very fast. In other words, out of the box, updates charging both the transmitter and the battery, but if it was the same as mine, within maybe just a little over an hour, you'll be ready to go out and fly.
That's awesome.
So
see, that's what I'm hoping that it comes like during the day when I'm home. So, like at lunchtime from work, that I could just grab it, throw it on the charger and everything. And then after work, spend an hour doing the updates. And then, we still have, because, the daylight savings time now, we have, the sun's up at least until the sun doesn't set till 7:30 at night now. So that's a real bonus. So, and I know Stephen Ewing asked a great question. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this. He said, will you be taking it out over the lake for one of your first flights? And I'm going to say unequivocally, Stephen, no. Okay. It's not going out. I'm going to be doing, and I always do this. I do maneuverability. The first time I take a drone up, and I've done it with every single drone, I take it up, I do maneuverability. And you know who taught me this? Well, I watched Rick Smith. Okay. I watched, when his very first takeoff, he does a maneuverability test. It's up, backwards, forwards, side to side, just basics and to do that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the first go around.
Hey,
so.
Thank you, Bill. Marcus, we got a question from Bill here. That's he used to be Cigar Nation, whatever.
Yep.
Do you want to handle his question? Is upgrading easier than with the Zino when the Z2 or the Saint Nightmare Z1?
Not even close, Bill. It is so easy. It's as easy as a DJI drone or a FEMI. It really just happens. You log on. It asks you. It tells you it's got an update. You just hit the button and basically follow the instructions on screen, and it's done. And like Ron said, it doesn't take terribly long. I found the instructions to be very clear. It tells you when to reboot the drone, etc. In fact, I'll say maybe it's even a little bit better than the Mavic Mini. I don't know about you guys, but I noticed like on the Mavic Mini, when it updates, it will shut off.
Yep.
And it won't tell you on the screen that you need to manually restart it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We've been doing this long enough, so we knew to do it, and we do. But it would be nice if they would give you these instructions. These are very clear instructions. It tells you when to restart the drone, etc. So good on Hubsan. They have really they've gone from one extreme to the other.
I'm going to say, don't you miss the Windows 95 updating on the Zino 1?
Yeah.
Well, everybody needs to watch Ron's video, one of his more recent videos, and he just went through the entire firmware process. And Bill, I think that would be a great one for you to watch because he showed everything, and it went very smoothly. And to me, it went more smoothly than a Mavic Mini because there have been several times, it'll get up to 75, 90%, and then it just sits there and sits there and sits there. And then sometimes it just, all of a sudden, error, retry kind of a thing. That's happened to me several times with the Mini.
Exactly. No Mini update goes smooth. But while we're on that subject, and I don't want to talk about the Mini too much on the Zino 2 show here, but but luckily it does. That's not big of a deal because I can't remember the last time the Mini got an update. And weren't we supposed to get all these features added through all these firmware updates we were going to see from the Mini? And as you guys like to say, it's been crickets from DJI on the Mini since like about the first of the year or whatever. So all our supposed upgrades and
let me give you my
features are missing in action, Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
Mark.
No. I was going to say I agree 100% with Ron. It's been like, I'm waiting for another update. And then, they came out in rapid fashion, like right away. I remember, Billy had one of the first videos that I saw before I got mine up. And, he talked about that one update that came. I mean, it was right away that DJI just addressed this issue. I forget what it was, but it was almost like within 2 or 3 days there was an update to address that, which was great. And then, like you said, up until about the first of the year, you know, they were coming out like clockwork, and then all of a sudden it's been like somebody turned the faucet off and the water stopped. I mean, we're not seeing them anymore. And, you know, DJI is kind of notorious for that, you know, and I'm going to rag on DJI for a while because you guys know, you know, I did the beta testing for the smart controller with the Phantom 4 Pro. And, you know, that's the beta testing. And that's a video that's coming up. It's a beta testing that went into the black hole because, you know, and DJI said, you know, we have no plans at this time. And I'm like, oh, you guys, you know, well, there's a video coming up on that. So,
hey, so with regard to the Mini and updates, so a lot of those things that Ron, that you were talking about, I think were people's wish list. I don't think DJI intends to do any of that for a couple of reasons. I think part of it is I don't think that the Mini has the processing power to do a lot of that stuff, like some of the more expensive DJI drones. And then also, I think they are also worrying about competing with their more full-featured drones. I think the Mini is to get you started, and then when you start thinking that you want some of those other features, that you'll move on up. Now, that's not to say that we won't get a few more features with it, but I think they're going to be limited, and I think that there's a reason that even those quick shots that are on there, there is limited functionality to them. The quick shots on my Mavic 2 are way more robust and work way better than the same quick shots on the Mini, and I'm quite sure that has to do with processing power. So anyway, what do
you say to all the DJ Spark owners that say, hey, my Spark that's almost 3 years old had all these features that the Mini doesn't have?
I'll bet you the Spark had a more powerful processor on it.
Wow.
Did you see what Stephen Ewing put? At least the updates don't come on a 3.5-inch floppy disk.
That's a good one. I could be way off. I mean, who knows? Maybe in a month they'll come out with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Marcus. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I totally agree. All those wish lists of stuff people wanted or whatever. Like you said, well, so that was just a wish list or whatever. If DJI was listening, they put their headphones on or whatever, and
went in here and out here.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'll mention one thing, and then I'll be quiet. Mavic Air 2, okay,
or the Mavic.
Bill, where have you been? It's just the Mavic.
The Mavic, okay.
I just want to what do you call it? Get on one name. If it's going to be the Mavic Air 2, I'll say the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic. I'm with Marcus. They're not putting more features in because they don't want they want somebody to get that new the new. I'll just say the new DJI drone. How about that?
They don't want to show that one. You know, and it's kind of like, okay, I'll compare this to, okay, you know, Hubsan Zino was coming out with a Zino 2, but in the interim, okay, they put out a Zino Pro, and you know, while they improved some things, it wasn't a quantum leap over the original Zino, okay? And it's the same thing here, okay? You know, they don't want to take the attention off. You know, they knew they were going to sell some you know, Zino Pros, but you know, it's like the attention was coming for the Zino 2. It was on its way, you know. So I think, you know, there's some method behind this.
Thanks to Josh from Parts of Tech for posting Bermuda Bob's YouTube channel link to it. So go over there. Bob's done a kind of a nice series of testing on the Zino 2. He got it a good amount sooner than a lot of the rest of his guys. So he's had some hands-on times, and he's really got some good experience and advice on it. Hey, go ahead, Marcus. You had a thought on that. Go ahead.
Well, no. Ian just mentioned something here that spurred a thought for me. He said they should add a setting to the Zino 2 to update firmware with Wi-Fi only. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I have the Wi-Fi on my phone, it will not take the update. It will not upload the update. if I turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone, I'm talking about when I'm at home, and do it over my cellular network, bam, it's instant. So I'm not sure if that's what he's referring to or not.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep talking about the Mini here, but more than this this new DJI drone, we'll call it the Mavic Air 2. I probably would have just rather had a Mavic Mini Pro, where they forget about 250 grams and put all the stuff we want, 4K, a little bit stronger motors, a few more features or whatever, and maybe a couple sensors on it, whatever, obstacle avoidance sensors, charge an extra $100 or so for it. I'd have been good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, that would have been good. But I think the whole thing here, and I think the whole thing about the Mavic Mini, it's 249 grams. Okay.
Oh,
wait a minute. I'm not talking about discontinue the. I mean,
no.
Keep the Mini, put a Pro one out for people, that right now don't worry about 250 grams. They want the things that the Mini had to sacrifice to be at 249 grams.
Right. But the thing is, Ron, DJI knew the reason that this would sell and that it's so popular is that it's under that weight limit because, for example, Lauren will tell you in Canada, you don't have to get take that test and you don't have to get it registered and all that. And, it's that way, probably in a lot of countries over in the Europe and UK. Which makes it, friendly to take that drone everywhere. Whereas, if, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If they did like $100 upgrade to the Mavic Mini, okay, called the Mavic Mini 2 or Pro or whatever, it'll have the more features on there, but it'll be over that weight limit. And then you run into issues and taking it into other countries and registration and all that kind of good stuff. So, that's just my 2 cents.
Hey, Ian Fleming makes another point here, and I get what he's saying now. Is what he's concerned about is when you get out into the field, exactly what happened to you, Ron. You get out in the field, you're getting ready to fly, and it tells you that you've got to do an update. So if it was Wi-Fi only, then you wouldn't get those kind of interruptions. So
in the old days of my Phantom 4, and I think the Phantom 4 updated in the field, but I used to always start the Phantom 4 up in the house before I'd go out flying and see if it wanted an update. I'd start up and it wouldn't ask for any updates, right? So I thought I'm good. But then I get out the field, I fire it up again. And then it wants to update. It's like as soon as I get out where I don't have the home Wi-Fi, then it wants the update. So I was always but we're getting too much off track here. Okay, let's get back to the Zino 2. And something Marcus touched on, and something somebody in the chat touched on, the landing. Now, we've had an issue. Johnny the Drone Flyer and a couple other guys in a group here. I think Bermuda Bob in his latest video he showed his landing too. A lot of us had a problem with landing when we bring it down. And I'm going to cut to the most common thing, but there's more things too. When you land on the ground, there is no land physical. Land button on the app. There's a return to home button, but not a land button like most drones, I think, including the Zino 1. So the only way is to pull the stick straight down, the left stick straight down. And sometimes that could take, much longer than it would with any other drone to turn the motors off. And John, the drone flyer, even had to spin around on them. And the first time I flew, I had a wind gust get under it when it wouldn't shut off quick enough. And it kind of moved mine around too. I think it's kind of an ongoing problem. My most recent landing with the new firmware updates, I saw it get 6 inches off the ground and not come down gentle. It kind of came down with a thud, which I never saw before. And Marcus has thrown out the theory, and I believe he's right, that the sensors on it aren't accurate as far as it knowing how far it is off the ground. Do you have any thoughts on what I've just rambled on about, Marcus?
Oh, I have a few thoughts on that, Ron. Done a few videos about it. So in my case, and I'm just speaking for me, I know other people, because I've seen their videos, have had a very different experience with the Zino 2. I'm just telling you about my Zino 2 and what happens when I land it. So it's supposed to go into landing mode. It's supposed to come down so far and go into landing mode. You're supposed to get an audible warning from the app that says landing. I've never ever got that audible warning on my drone. And to get mine to go into landing mode, it waits till it's about 6 inches off the ground. I mean, really close to the ground before it'll actually go into landing mode. And then, like you said, Ron, it'll come down and it'll keep spinning the motors for a while. And that got me to looking. I started looking at the altimeter, at the data at the bottom of the screen, the telemetry. And mine consistently shows that it's anywhere from half a meter to almost even a meter. Still, even when it's sitting on the ground, the drone is saying that it's a half a meter off the ground. So there's something going on there with the telemetry that I think is affecting the way that thing comes down and lands. And just, this is just my theory. Maybe that's why it's still spinning the motors and so forth. And I know, because I've seen the videos, that there are some other people that they get that warning that, you know, they'll be a couple of feet off the ground and it'll say landing and it'll just come right down. But and it hasn't worked on mine, I can tell you that.
Well, you know, that was one of the things that I kind of, you know, after first time I was landing the Zino 1, okay, you know, I'm so conditioned, you know, I pull both the sticks in and I'm figuring it's going to shut down. No, it kept spinning. Okay. And one time, like Ron said, one time it just almost kind of like went up and over again, kind of a thing. So I took my hands off the sticks, and then after like about another 3 or 4 more seconds, it stopped. But it's like, that's a long 3 or 4 seconds that you're waiting for that to stop. And it's like, you know, and like Ron said, you know, if a good gust of wind comes up, it's going to pick that thing up.
Yeah, no, good point. And I know, Ron, you had a little different experience, right? When you did that update, you said you felt yours was a little better.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to say, like, when I've already had a couple different experiences. The first time I flew it, you know, I had a kind of a experience like Johnny the Drone Flyer, where it almost switched around. Mine didn't topple over, but it was all over the place on landing because I think a wind gust got it. But then I did an update by the next time I flew it the next day, and it landed. That's when I landed on that wall. I have a video, my number 2 Zino 2 video. I landed on that wall, and it was like the perfect landing. And then when I did the last update, then I saw where it came down too quick to land a little rough or whatever. So basically, almost every time I fly, I have an update, and I think it affects the performance each time. But again, that time I landed on the wall was the only time I flew it, and I would what you call moderate wind. Every other time I flew it, it's been very windy to the point where not a lot of other drones I would take that out. But as we talked about, the Zino 2 is maybe the best wind fighter drone I've almost ever had, or whatever. It's right up there with anything. I mean, I'm not afraid to take that out in wind condition. I mean, taking off and landing, that could be a harrowing experience. But once you get it up in the air 20 feet, that thing's the boss up in the air. You know,
yeah.
And you got all 8 cylinders going.
Greg Pittman has made a comment here that he actually had his flip over during a precision landing. So. Ooh. Yeah, that tells me that I really believe it's something related to the drone not knowing that it's on the ground yet because of that error in the altimeter.
Well, I'm glad you brought up precision landing. I don't know if it's Marcus's most recent video, but it's the most recent video I've watched all the way through. Marcus achieved one perfect precision landing where it was almost right in the middle of the pad. And he had another precision landing where he got 2 legs on, which we'll call that, you know, we'll give it the old college try on that one or whatever. What was your secret to your good precision landings, Marcus?
You know what? The same secret to when I tried to get a good precision landing with the FEMI X8 SE. I did it on a concrete pad, and I believe that it has to do. I believe that it has to do with the contrast of the pad as opposed to when it's on the grass. I just don't think it sees it well enough. So yesterday when I flew, the one you're thinking of, Ron, I had the blue side up, and everybody was telling me, oh yeah, you got to have the blue side. So when I did it yesterday, I flipped it over and did the orange side up, and I got one precision landing of it full on the
full on.
And the second one with a couple of legs off, just like
And we'll take that one too. Now I got a question for Bill.
Yes.
Our resident DJI expert on staff here. Now, you correct me when I say something wrong here. The first drone ever in the history of drones that have precision landing was the Mavic Pro 1. Now, it didn't have it out of the gate, but it got it eventually. And those landing pads, nobody ever saw a landing pad before the Mavic Pro 1 because that landing pad was developed for the Mavic Pro 1 to do that precision landing. Am I correct on this information, Bill?
Yeah, you're correct on that, Ron. And then it kind of spread, it kind of went like wildfire because they put it on the Phantom 4. And every, the Spark had it, the Mavic Air had it, and then the Mavic 2 had it. I mean, it kind of went like wildfire as far as that's concerned. And the thing with that is, and what sets DJI apart is how that works is it depends on which drone you're using, but when it gets to a preset altitude, it takes a picture, all right? And it stores the picture in memory. And what the drone does, whatever drone it does, when it gets over there, if you've hit, return to home, it lines up and it looks for that picture. And then, when your drone's turning and stuff, and it's trying to match that picture up, sometimes because, it may be a little bit askew or something when it's coming down, okay? When it locks on that. And what I thought was real interesting when I watched Marcus's video, with the time that it did land on there, okay? It was kind of like, looking for it. And then it found it, okay? And then when it found it, I mean, it looked, it was pretty rock solid. That impressed me, okay? When I saw that with the Zino 2, when it came down like that. And I think there's some method to Marcus's madness with the color contrast and everything. I think that sensor, for lack of a better term, I'll just call it, not as good as DJI's. All right. And I think that's part of the issue as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, Bill, good point. So the FIMI X8 SC and the original Zino and the Zino 2, they have to have a landing pad. They will not do a precision landing without a landing pad. It's looking for that pattern, that H. I'm not sure about the Anafi. The Anafi does some pretty good precision landing.
I have a follow-up question for Bill on this.
Well,
okay, now that Mavic 1, it needed a landing pad, but now since then, the new DJI drones don't need a landing pad. Right?
No, they don't. I mean, I've actually,
but the Mavic 1 did. I mean, the Mavic Pro 1 did.
The Mavic 1 did. I've done it on top of my hot tub. Not any issues. Go for it, Marcus.
Okay, so the point that I was in the middle of making there was that you can take a Mavic 2 and you can find a spot on a parking lot with a stripe on it, and it will find that exact same spot without a landing pad, as opposed to those other drones that they have to have a landing pad to do precision landing. So that's the point I was making there. Thank you, guys.
Good. And when did the Mavic Pro 1, or maybe it always did, when did the DJI drones no longer need the landing pad?
I think right off. I think the original, at least my original Mavic Pro didn't need one.
Well, I mean, when it first, those landing pads were developed for the first Mavic Pro 1 to land, so maybe it didn't always need it, but it needed it at first, or
it's got to be able to look at differentiation on the ground. So, for instance, if you were just on a plain piece of concrete, because there wouldn't be enough differentiation,
it all look the same, yeah,
for it to tell. But as long as it's got something that it can recognize, boom, it'll come right down on whatever that spot happens to be. So to your point, like if I'm out in a parking lot or something with the Mavic 2 now, I don't use a landing pad. I just find like a piece of parking lot with a stripe on it or something like that I know, like Bill said, that drone can remember. It actually, with that downward camera, it takes a picture of it. It's in memory, and that's how it finds it again.
And to answer your question, the Anafi doesn't need the landing pad either. It just takes a picture. It just needs, like you said, it just needs something that can distinguish from or whatever, and it'll land. Hey, the comment I have highlighted here, is that the gentleman that wanted the link to the ribbon cable?
I don't know, but I'm going to put that link to the ribbon cable in the.
Yeah, we had a comment from last week's show. We talked about the ribbon cable, and somebody wanted the link to it, and then we'll talk about that. Marcus is busy typing away now, but we'll talk about the ribbon cable. And I'm no expert on it at all. We had Chad B in here, who he had a problem with his. I'm calling it the ribbon cable, the camera cable that connected the the camera and the gimbal to the we'll say the onboard computer. I know the last time I heard, Chad was still waiting for the cable. He's in here right now, but I don't know if all these cables are going bad or what's the reason they're going bad. I know I saw somebody show the difference between the new cable and the old cable. I know it's an issue, and I don't know a whole lot about it.
I posted a video from somebody yesterday, I think, and it was on how to replace the cable.
I posted the South Korean guy made a real nice video.
Yeah, it was real good on that, and I'm kind of thinking, and this is just, I think the first Zino 2s that came out, I think that cable was defective, because, with Chad and I think other ones have experienced that issue. So, and, of course, Hubsan's taken care of them with that, but I mean, that's kind of frustrating, and then again, trying to deal with, it would be nice, in a nice world, Hubsan US would also have parts available here, because normally, more often than not, they don't. So they have to get them over from mainland in China over here. So it's like,
Let me tell you what I did, Bill, for that very reason. I preemptively ordered one. I just ordered one. It was $10. Hopefully I never ever have to use it.
That's a smart thing.
But to your point, we don't know this. Is it something that's a common failure point on the Zino 2? We've heard about enough of them now that it could be, right. So there could be a point that it goes bad. So what the heck, for $10 just to have one on hand?
Yeah, I want to thank Marcus for dropping that link in the chat, because I know a lot of people like Chad B here, they're waiting a long time to get it from Hubsan, and Marcus found a way you can get it faster from AliExpress. So I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people. And we did the gentleman here I've highlighted. He is the one that asked for the link, so he thanked you here or whatever. So Marcus,
my pleasure.
Marcus did his community service here tonight, and he's getting everybody a faster ribbon cable that or camera cable that busted. And again, hopefully it was only in the early models. A lot of people that had the problems are one of the early people that received the the drone. But we have the Great Blue Skyrim here with the snake. The first person in North America that received the Zino 2 that put it on YouTube. Maybe somebody had that doesn't make videos, but I don't think he's had a problem with his cable. I mean, he's had a problem with a couple things on his Zino. He's famous for finding the flaw in the transmitter where the micro USB port comes loose inside, and he has received his new Hubsan 2 transmitter from GearBest. I don't know who, but maybe directly from Hubsan. So hopefully he's got that resolved. Now we'd like to get Blue Sky Run again and have him talk about that whole controller issue. He's made a video about it, a really good video, but maybe he can come on the show and answer some questions sometime. So
that'd be great.
Just throwing that out there, Blue Skyver. I know you're out there, buddy.
He's in the chat right now.
I'm putting the pressure on him.
Well, Johnny asked a real good question, and this is something. Now, for me, what about a case for the Zino 2? For me, I got the one that has the case that it comes with the case. Now, that's kind of like, I'll call it. It's just a nice thing. Okay, it really is. It's okay. Like if I go to the soccer field, it's fine for something like that. But if it's anything more than that, you need something like, a durable case, one of the ones like I have for my Mavic 2, all right, or for my Mavic Mini. You need something like that because, you don't want, you spend that kind of money on a drone, and even for a $400 drone, okay, you want something that's going to protect it. And this is the thing that boggles my mind, guys, okay? One of the things, it's kind of one of my pet peeves is, guys will go and spend $1,500 on a Mavic 2 Pro, and they want, and they're griping about spending $99 for a case. And, and I'm telling them, I'm like, look, they want a $30 case. I said, you know what? And I tell you what, I've reviewed enough $30 cases versus $99 cases to say, you know what, the $39 case, just here, I'll just toss it over my shoulder. As far as what it's worth, the $99 case, 9 times out of 10, it's going to have all the features. It's going to be custom cut. It'll fit everything that it should in there. And, you can even take it probably on a plane with you if you're traveling, kind of a thing, or, you happen to get it wet if the weather's inclement or something. Those are the kind of things you want to look for in a case. Okay. And I would say the same thing here with a Zino too. Okay. People are going to say, no, I want the $30 case, kind of a thing. Not for me. Okay. If I'm spending $400 or $500 on a drone, I want to get some protection for that thing when I'm not using it.
Well,
that's my opinion.
Here's what's going to happen, Bill, I believe, is the Zino 2, as we know, seems to be selling like hotcakes, right? They're selling them faster than they can produce them, evidently. So the way it typically works. There's going to be about 10 different brands of cases, I'll bet you, we'll see in the next month or two. Yeah. But in the meantime, we're kind of, you just have, I guess you can buy that original case that Hubsan came up with, although I'm with you, it's not terribly impressive.
And I don't mean to go back to the Mavic Mini, but the case that comes with the Firmware kit, okay, when I first got it, it was decent. It was okay, to use. But I got to say this, the GPC case, and I got a shout out to our good friend Barry Markowitz. Okay, Barry. All right. He got me hooked up with that, and I did a review on it. And thank you again, Barry. That is a solid case. There is absolutely no flaws with that whatsoever. And that's what you get with a GPC case. You're going to pay at least $100 for it. Okay. But I'll tell you what, I mean, this case, it wasn't even near $100. I think it was like retails like 65 on it. And I heard people complaining about it. And it's just, oh my gosh here. Okay. So, that's my whole thing with that.
Hey, I bet you Ron could chime in on this. So Ted makes a point there about using a backpack. Now, Ron, didn't you tell me that sometimes you'll use your photographer's backpack because it has compartments and stuff that are adjustable, and you can, yeah.
Yeah, I all my foldable drones, like I just stick them in my camera bag. If the camera bag can secure a camera that costs more than these drones do, it can secure the drone. I've even traveled on an airplane with the drone sitting right beside the camera in the camera bag. But on that note, though, on Bill's point, if there's any case makers out there planning on making cases for the Zino 2, and they want some early reviews or whatever of them, they can send them to ZinoNation headquarters, and the 3 of us will put the cases through their paces. I didn't mean to rhyme there. And and then we'll do a review, and even maybe we can rate them on the show. This is the #1 case, this is the best budget case, whatever. We'll do a whole episode around Zino 2 cases. So I'll put the post office box of the corporate headquarters out, and we can just get a hold of us, and we'll send those cases along.
Yeah. It's like, it's one of the things I think that really frustrates me. When I review the cases, I hate to harp on it. It's like, people say, that's a great case, Bill, but it's $99, or that's a great case, Bill, but it's $65. And I'm just like, you spent $400 for a Mavic Mini or $499 for a Firmware kit. Okay. Well, it comes with a case. And I said, you know what? It was good enough for me to stick in my overnight bag to take it up to Ohio. But you know what? Ron makes a point with those camera cases. And I think a lot that they sell them at Best Buy, and they're also on Amazon as well. And I think it's called Lowe's, but it's not spelled like the store. Okay. And they have these divider compartments in there.
Low Pro is
Low Pro. Yeah. They have these divider compartments with Velcro in there. And, it shows the setup, if you have your Mavic 2, and just, there's compartment, you can adjust a compartment for battery, for your transmitter, it'll even do the smart controller in there too. And those things are padded. And like Ron says, you're sticking a what? You might stick a $3,000 or $4,000 camera in there too, and people are worried if it's going to protect the drone, but those things are great to travel with.
Stephen Ewing is making a really good point here that careless storage is a good main reason for prop damage. And he says, yeah, try and fly with a bent prop. Yeah, no, thank you. And then I'm interested in what Blue Skyver is saying here. Not that he had his drone drop from the fall, but that he has ordered a Zino 2 on March 23rd, and he's getting it on March 30th. So
now there's some order time, huh?
Well, I'm thinking that must be Hubsan US.
Well, I know the story why Blue Sky was ordering another Zino 2, but I won't spill the beans, as he used to say. I'll let him discuss it when he comes on the show. Perfect. Along with the controller issue. Marcus knows why he's ordering it too. I shared the top secret information, but I won't spill the beans here because I don't think he's put it in a video or anything yet. So I'll let him tell his story before I do. So
well, Blue Skyver just said he ordered it from Hubsan. So
okay, from the mothership.
From the mothership, yeah.
Which Bill, you ordered from Hubsan too.
Yes, I did. But
yeah.
It's like
there are no debates because we said you were an Hubsan ticket now.
Yeah, what was so funny was it was like about a week or so after I ordered it, it was available on Hubsan US, and it would ship immediately. And I was like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And I asked my wife, I said, should I cancel an order from Hubsan US? And she gave me one of these. No, just be still.
Well, Bill, wasn't it the same thing happened to you? Like almost the day you canceled it, you later on got your shipping notification?
No, I did. Well, no, I got it. Actually,
you got the notification to pay for it and complete it.
Yeah. And I'm like, it was like, well, what was ironic? And I'll go back to the Skydio. It was the same. It was like you guys got your confirmations, and then I made the decision that I was going to cancel my Skydio. Which I still think was the right decision for me anyway. But it wasn't like 10 minutes after I went out and I canceled it that I got the email from Skydio saying your reservation is ready. Please give us your deposit. The timing was just impeccable. It was so funny.
Yeah, that's crazy. Of course, in retrospect, you should complete the order even if you don't want it. Soon as even before you got it, put up on eBay or whatever.
Hey, so I see that Blue Skyver is asking about a strobe light here. Blue Skyver, I've never used them, so I really don't have. I don't know.
Tell Blue Skyver.
Oh, Ron, I'll bet you. Ron always has an answer.
I haven't even taken it out of the box yet, but this is the famous Loop Cube strobe light anti-collision, that you've seen many people review it. My weather's been so bad. I will get this out of the box and probably put it in the Mavic 2 Pro and, test it out and do some. I don't really do night flying, but I got it because when the weather gets nicer, I'll fly a lot at dusk, right at the sunsets or whatever. So it just gives me some extra, planes will be able to see me for, I think, 3 statute miles.
Well, you know who reviewed it? And I was sold. I didn't get it yet, but I am going to. Our friend Rick Smith.
The great Rick Smith.
And you know what was great? You know what's great? Okay. And this is what I like about Rick. He just doesn't review it to say, he demonstrated it. And now, when you're demonstrating something like this, okay, you have to have a good view of the drone when you're filming it. And you guys know what a challenge it is to film your drone when you're controlling your drone at the same time, kind of a thing. Okay. And he did an exceptional job with this video because, he captured it. It was well on past like 1,500 feet and you could still see that strobe light. Now he also did, it comes with different, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but it comes with, I think, like a clear cover, a red cover, and a green cover.
Green cap, right. And you put the red or green on, it's going to reduce the statute miles.
And that's exactly what Rick found. Rick was like, it was like spot on. And see, that's what I like. Rick, when he does the test, it's like because he has an engineering background, it's like done to the T. I mean, he does it every single time.
Okay, well, we've got 10:04 here, and I'm going to do a couple promotions, and then if they want to stay on for a couple more minutes, if it's something about the Zino 2 we haven't covered, want to spend another 5 minutes or so, that's fine or whatever, or even some other topic. But I want to do some shout outs. every Monday night, of course, we're on at 9:00. And again, if you weren't in before, we got Sean Oz on next week. We're going to do a kind of a special ZinoNation edition. And if any big Zino news breaks or whatever, we'll get that, even if we have to go an extra half hour after Sean leaves to do some Zino stuff if we have some good information. Well, I'm speaking for Marcus and Bill, but I'll stick around anyways if they want to join. But at 8:00 on Monday nights, I want you to go over to the Grumpy Vlogger. He hosts a show Monday night. Him and Mel are on there. They talk drones and all sorts of stuff or whatever. And tonight after this show, he's on right now. But if you want to go over and catch Ken Herron's 24-hour live stream, I think he's raising money for what charity is he raising money for? He's raising money for some sort of charity, a good one, So go over there, drop in, super chat some money, to whatever his good cause is. And I'm not making light at all. I just can't remember it, but it's it's some cause like it's a famous one. And anyhow, and tomorrow night there's a show on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there's a couple people you may recognize on that show. Bill, you want to give us a preview on what's going on, Bill, the drone review tomorrow night?
These two guys up here will be with me. We're going to talk about, the Zino 2. I mean, it's still something that I'd like to spend some time on because, its arrival is imminent. Okay. It's getting ready to land in my house next Monday. So I'm super excited about that. We want to discuss some of the things, we'll talk about some of the things we talked about tonight as well too. Because, a lot of people don't watch, ZinoNation that watch my show. So we're going to spend some time on that. We're also going to spend some time on the Evo 2 because I think that arrival is imminent too. And we talked a little bit about
shipping update tomorrow night on the Evo 2.
I will check with I'm going to check with my couple of my people that have been updating me. So we'll get some news on that. And I think, and I'll say this, and I won't talk about, the virus because I think this is it. And I mentioned this Saturday night, and I want to kind of hone in on this theme tomorrow night. Having these drones to look forward to it takes our mind off a lot of things right now. And it, it's our hobby, it's our passion, it's something that we really enjoy doing, and we love talking about it. And I think for everybody, and this is something that hits with everybody and it resonates. And that's going to kind of be the theme tomorrow night. I want to keep a real positive beat to the show, while not neglecting, and I will say this, the only thing I'm going to say, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who has been directly affected by this. And, we pray for speedy recoveries. We pray for full recoveries with everyone. And we pray that this crisis is averted quickly. But beyond that, we're also going to talk about the Mavic or DJI Mavic or Mavic Air 2. For lack of a better term, I've been calling it Mavic Air 2. I think Lauren's calling it, the Mavic or the Mavic. And of course, Lauren will join us tomorrow night as well. So, we'll get some updates from him if he's heard anything about that as well too, because it's exciting. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to, with the feature sets that's on there. And it's really, again, it's something, it helps gets our mind engaged with something else except, beyond the news of the day. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys tomorrow night, and we're going to have a great time and love to have you guys on board.
Thanks for the update, Bill. And right after Bill's show, I go live with, I think it's called Philly Mike and Ron, I think is the name of the show. I go live with, the Philly Drone Life, and we talk drones, and mostly drones and anything else or whatever. But we mostly sit there. We'll talk about editing too or whatever. So Mike wants to go from live to editing a little bit. But so that'll be going for an hour, 9 to 10 on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesday nights, don't forget the Coast to Coast Drones Drone Therapy Show, starring Bill Thomas, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And John Coopy and I are in there, and Ethan Mitchell. He's been on the road in California with some limited Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure he'll be on, but hopefully he will be. And then Ken Herron on Thursday nights, and then we roll back to Monday nights, which I already gave you that lineup. So, gentlemen, any other topics we want to get into before we end the show, or do we want to say goodnight?
Johnny Drone Flyer just posted down there. Keep my 2-year-old granddaughter in your prayers as she broke her leg in the trampoline yesterday afternoon. So Johnny, our thoughts and prayers are with her and for a speedy recovery. Especially being 2 years old, that's a real, I can relate. My granddaughter's not quite a year, but I know where you're coming from. So our thoughts and prayers are with her for a complete healing.
Yeah, definitely prayers, and especially this time when visiting a medical facility, hospital, or whatever is certainly a trying experience here.
Yeah. I'll go with my closing thoughts. And, my whole thing is this, having this show, having drones to talk about, it was a high stress day for me today. And this was the perfect prescription for that. Completely, just pushed everything else aside, talking about the Zino 2, the stability issues and everything. And it's just good therapy. And I think we need this now. I think it's good for all of us. And we're going to continue the theme tomorrow night. We're going to keep a positive, upbeat theme for everything, and it's just like, just the only thing I'll say is this, practice good hygiene, practice the social distancing. We'll get through this. We will. We always do. And that's one thing I've got to say about our country is we're pretty resilient. We've got through some really tough times in our lives. And, we've been there, and, Ron and Marcus have been there as well too, and, we've come out better and we've come out ahead, and we are going to come out better. We are going to come out ahead. And you know what? It's going to be, hopefully, we're going to be on the other side, probably, who knows and how long. It's probably, our thoughts and prayers are this not going to be too much longer, but you know what? We're having fun. And we're talking about the Zino 2. We're talking about, the FIMI X8. We're talking about the Evo 2, the Mavic Air 2. This is good stuff, guys. This is good stuff. So if you think about stuff, think about this kind of stuff. So, and I got to thank my co-host and Ron for this show. I absolutely love being on ZinoNation.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, so my final thoughts, I want to echo a little bit of what Bill said. Hey, these drones they're fun all the time, but in stressful times, they're a really awesome diversion. And if I have to fly from my backyard, that's what I'm going to do. But the biggest message I want to put out there right now is, listen, folks, everybody is stressed out right now. We're all worried about where we're going to get food and supplies and trying to do the right thing by our neighbors and everything. Just be kind to people. So, I said it the other day, when somebody cuts you off on the freeway or something, hey, let them have that lane. Don't get uptight. When you're on Facebook and somebody posts something that you don't like, don't flame them. Just move on the other way. And in fact, go out of your way to compliment people and be nice to them, because you should do that all the time, but we especially need that right now. And that said, I so appreciate everybody in the chat. It's really fun talking about these drones, and I really love the participation that we get from the people that watch this show. And have fun and fly your drones. Ron?
Thank you, Marcus. Well said. And you guys made such great, closing remarks. I'm going to just kind of say ditto to what you guys said. I'm going to tell a little story. Greg Pittman, who's in with us here tonight, he called me about a week or half ago. It was actually called me on Friday the 13th, the day I got the Zino 2. He told me a story that he was flying that day, not the Zino 2. He just got that day, but he was flying a drone in his backyard, and apparently his backyard is in a restricted zone. But he got it was a DJI drone, because he used the land system to get permission to fly, so he was legal to fly. And a helicopter came out of no place, flying under 400 feet. And got right in his backyard and stared him in the eye, like somehow that it seemed like the helicopter knew he was there flying and came over and checked on him. And he was really shook up and scared that day when he called me. I should say scared, but really shook up, because he's never heard of anything like that before. And I never have either. That he was, again, he received permission to fly. So I guess somebody at the tower knew he was there, but we don't know if this helicopter was connected with the tower, the airport, or why it came over and got. He said he could see the color of the man's pants. It was so close to him.
Wow.
Yeah. So Greg told, and I wanted to mention this last week on one of the shows, but I never got a chance to because we're so busy. But I see Greg's in here now. So I want to relay that information. If anybody, is Facebook friends or YouTube friends of Greg and they want to reach out and get more details, just reach out to him because he could tell the story a lot better than me. But it was a story I haven't heard before. And again, he was, he was pretty shook in that day about it, and I don't blame him. I would have been too. So on the way out the door here, I just want to thank everybody in the chat, all the comments. I'll read off some of the names. We got DeMarco in here with us tonight. Ted Bowman's in here with us tonight. Stephen Ewing, of course, one of our super fans here. I already mentioned Greg was in here with us tonight. Blue Skyver. Mike Wright was in here with us tonight. Ian Fleming, who was the first one. They always say first on these drone videos. Ian Fleming was first tonight in here. Of course, John the Drone Flyer, who was on last week, one of our ZinoNation Hall of Famers here. Let's see here. I have to go way back, but that's just some of the people I saw in here tonight. Some of the great comments, great tips. A lot of you guys give stuff to help us along. Bermuda Bob was in here earlier. Parks and Tech was in here earlier. So just a great gang. The lone. I don't even know how to say it. The Lonely Ranger 01, the guy wanted the link that Marcus provided for him for that cable, with Chad B in here with us. Bill Thomas over the Coast to Coast Roads was in here for a while. So just a great bunch of guys here. I saw my friend Birdman 316 in here tonight. So I just hope that everybody's safe, safe out there, virus free, doing whatever they need to do to keep that way. And, and that's about it. So, anybody wants to join us tomorrow night at 8 on Bill's show, you're welcome to it. If not, we'll see you next week at our usual time. Don't forget, Sean Oz will be here all the way from the mountains of Colorado, which it was still snowing when I was talking to him the other day. So, we'll see you. Good night.